Hello everyone. Today, I'm going to show you how to create a 2D platformer with PYV engine and its creation tools. First, we will install PYV engine. To do this, type pip install PYV engine in the terminal. Then, we will create a new project using pre-made game templates to simplify our lives. To do this, type PYV in it, followed by the name of your project, for example, My Game. It will then ask you to choose a basic template. We want a platformer, so type 2. Next, it will ask for the name of the game. For instance, I'll put test. Press enter, and it will ask for the author's name, which you can leave as the default. And there you go! We've created our project, which you can find right here. Now that we have finished the installation, we can start our game from the game skeleton that has already been prepared for us. Let's take a quick look at the code so that you can better understand how to customize this template according to your preferences. The files to customize are located inside the cartridge folder. The shared.py file will store all your constants. The gamedf.py file will house your game loop with 3 available declarations using PYV. Declare_begin to start your game. Declare_update to maintain your update loop, and declare_end to end the game. You will also manage the configuration of your entities here. The systems.py file will contain the logic of your game through ECS systems. If you wish to implement any kind of logical events, you will store them here. The world.py file will handle the creation of your entities in the game world. When testing this demo, you can press escape at any time to exit the demo. Here is the basic game. We have a character that can move within a map. For step 1, we will start by creating a jetpack for our character. To do this, we will go to world.py, and in the file, I will add a jetpack attribute inside the player entity, like this. Now let's move on to the gamedf.py file. We will also add the jetpack here. Here, we need to adjust the jetpack's power, so we go to the shared.py file and add the variable jetpack_ratio, which we will set to 0.05. Now, let's handle the jetpack activation. To do this, we go to the systems.py file and find the steering_sys function. We add the line for jetpack activation there. Now we can make the jetpack execution possible by placing the targeted code here. As you can see above, we essentially use the same formula to calculate our jump acceleration. We just multiply it by the jetpack_ratio we defined earlier. We test it. Great! We now have a fully functional jetpack. We can now move on to step 2. For this step, we will add textures to our game because, at the moment, it doesn't look very appealing. We start by adding the texture for the walls, then for the player, and finally for the background. For this, you can create your own textures or use the ones from the tutorial. You can find them in the second link in the description. I already downloaded them, so, like me, you need to place them here. Open the metadata.json file now to edit it. We need to list the new assets for the game in the assets section. We enter the asset names like this. Next, we go to gamedf.py. Inside the droid_init function to add an icon component to the player. Then go to world.py, and you need to place the following lines to integrate them into the game. Let's continue by adding our famous icon component to the player right here. We load our image using the PYV image loader and then resize it. Now, let's add our background and wall texture. To do this, we'll use a different approach from before. We will create a dictionary to store all our images. So go to shared.py and add the following lines at the end of the file. Now, let's add this to gamedf.py here. Since all the elements are now ready, the remaining task is to adapt what is rendered by replacing the colored squares with real images. To do this, go to systems.py, to the rendering_sys section. Let's display our new background and then replace this code with the new code here, like this. We can now test it. And there you have it. We now have our platform game with superb assets. That being said, to conclude this video, we will add an entity to our game. It will be a teleportation portal that can take us from one map to another in the game. At the same time, I will show you how maps are created and designed. To do this, let's go into the gamedf.py file, then add our new block like this. Here, we've just added that body property to our block. Indeed, we need a hitbox in order to implement a portal. Let's move on to the next thing. So, here, we're going to create the second map. To do this, copy the first map, which is named my_map.ncsv, and rename it to map2.ncsv. We can now move on to the map modification step. Let's enter map 2 and see what's interesting in there. This file uses a CSV format. The rule to encode the map is that we use zeros for empty spaces, ones for regular walls or the floor. The code 2 or 3 is used for representing mobile blocks. We will encode the teleporting portal with the code 4. That choice is arbitrary. As long as the game can process the code, we are good. Also, let's add it to the first map, my_map.ncsv, so we can go back and forth between them. Place it there, for example. You can move all the blocks as you want with this system. Well, now let's move on to the next step. To add the block as a type for a block, let's go into world.py and place the code right here after the other 3 types of blocks. Next, to display our teleporter on the screen, we can go to the systems.py file around line 200 and add the following code after displaying the orange block. Like this. Now that the block is present on the map, let's add some logic to make it a real novelty. Scroll down in the teleport_sys function and add this piece of code. This will handle the map change when passing through the teleporter. One last thing to do is to add map2 to the assets list in our metadata.json file. We can now conclude this tutorial. Let's test our fantastic game. I can move correctly, fly with the jetpack, and when I pass through the teleporter. And there we go! We are now in the second map. Everything is working correctly. We can also go back to the first map like this by using this little portal. Congratulations on completing this tutorial. If something goes wrong or if the program crashes, make sure to go through all the previous steps one by one and check if you've missed anything. If that doesn't help you find a solution, you can always join our Discord community, link in the description, and ask for help. More experienced PYV users will be happy to assist you.